Hey guys, tonight we're going somewhere soft and flower-dusted. You're stepping barefoot onto a sun-warmed wooden porch, the boards creaking just enough to make you feel real. The air smells like honeysuckle and heat, July heat, the kind that sticks to your arms and makes your bangs damp. And just as you reach for the handle of that old aluminum-framed screen door, it squeaks. That squeak, like a sleepy hello from a memory that never left. You probably won't survive this one, not emotionally anyway, because we're heading straight into Grandma's house. Not a metaphorical one, not a TikTok aesthetic one. The real thing, where the carpet was older than you, the ceiling fans never matched, and love tasted like something baked. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is right now. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The screen door slaps shut behind you. Never gently, always with a little thwap like it's saying, "You're home now, no more wandering." You're barefoot, of course, because Grandma never made you wear shoes inside. That was a city thing, she'd say. So your feet carry a little bit of gravel, a smudge of sidewalk chalk, and one mysterious smear of something sticky that might have been popsicle or might have been bug guts. No one investigates too hard. The floorboards creak in all the same places they always did. Right under the rug by the dining room table, just as you pass the fireplace that hasn't been used since '87. Smells like lemon cleaner and potpourri that's been sitting in the same dish for 15 years. You swear the dried roses have formed a little community now. You imagine they whisper to each other when everyone leaves. From the kitchen, halfway down the hall, you hear it. A sound like heaven having a conversation. The soft clink of a spoon against a Pyrex bowl. The shuffle of slippers across linoleum. And, yes, the unmistakable sigh of apple slices meeting cinnamon. Grandma is baking, and you've arrived just in time. You glance left at the mirror near the coat hooks. It's still got that one scratch down the corner where someone flung a hairbrush once. Probably your cousin Becky. Or you. No one remembers anymore, and no one cares. Because in this house, history isn't just remembered. It's forgiven automatically, folded into the wallpaper like old phone numbers and refrigerator magnets. Your foot lands on the exact cool tile where she always made you stand to cool off, like you were a loaf of bread that needed settling. And just like that, she appears. "Look who finally made it," she says, without turning around. She always knew, somehow, like she could hear your heartbeat from the garden. You walk toward her voice, and even before you see her, you smell her. It's that layered perfume of flower dust, Pond's cream, and something citrusy, like the ghosts of oranges past. She's wearing her apron, the one with the rooster on it. The one that, to this day, you can't look at without hearing the phrase, "That's just how it is, sugar." You wrap your arms around her from behind, not too tight, because you remember how she always said, "My bones are older than they look." And you rest your head against her back, letting the warmth of her body and the smell of baked things flood you like a wave. There's a kind of silence in Grandma's kitchen that's never empty. It's full of clock ticks, pie crust sighs, and stories that only get told in one-sentence chunks. You spot the flour jar with the faded label, the measuring cups hanging slightly crooked, and the brown paper bag from the corner store with cinnamon sticks poking out like wands. She hands you a slice of apple before you even ask. It's not sweet yet, still sharp, still real, and it crunches in your mouth like a tiny, perfect protest against store-bought things. "Help me with the crust," she says, and that's when you remember. You always got to press the fork edges. She slides the dough toward you on the wax paper, and you take the fork, the same one with a slightly bent tine, like it had opinions, and begin pressing those little ridges into the edge of the pie. You try to make them perfect. She tells you that perfect pies never taste right. The radio hums something old and sad in the corner. Maybe Patsy Cline, maybe Nobody Knows. The kind of song that always sounds like it's been playing in her kitchen since before the kitchen existed. And somewhere in this perfect mess of smells and warmth and aluminum pie tins, a question bubbles up. Not loud enough to say aloud, just enough to rattle gently inside you. We still wonder if all houses had this kind of kitchen, or if it was just hers. The oven clicks on. You lean against the counter. And just as she tucks the pie inside and closes the door, you realize the whole world could smell like cinnamon right now, and you'd still only feel safe in this room. You reach for another slice of raw apple. She pretends not to notice, and the screen door squeaks again, but this time you don't look back. The kitchen drifts into a hush, save for the pie baking behind the oven glass. You've got flour on your fingers and something sticky near your elbow. Maybe the apple juice, maybe syrup from that jelly jar she never closed properly. Doesn't matter. In Grandma's house, messes aren't tragedies. They're just signs that something good happened. She walks over to the cabinet, that cabinet. The one where the doors never shut flush, like two people who've known each other too long and don't bother faking it. Inside are plates, but not just any plates. These are the kinds of dishes that would send modern influencers into an emotional tailspin. Sunflower rims, chipped edges, one with a faint crack that makes it hum weird in the microwave. She pulls one out for you, the same one you always got. The blue one with the hairline cracked down the center, like a fault line holding together childhood. It's not much to look at, but you'd sooner eat off a Frisbee than trade it. You know, that one's lucky, she says, smiling. Lucky for what? You never ask. You just know that food tastes better on it. Soup stays warmer. Pie slices feel sacred. She lays out a napkin, cloth, faded, with a tiny embroidered rose, and slides you a glass of milk that somehow tastes colder than any other milk you've had in your life. Maybe it's the glass, maybe it's the memory. Then she opens the second shelf, the high one, the one you weren't allowed to touch until you were 9 3/4. That's where the company mugs lived, the ones with the gold trim. But no company's here, so you ask what we're all wondering. Why do you keep the fancy mugs if you don't use them? She shrugs. They remind me to expect someone. No one agrees whether she meant someone in particular, or just someone. The future. Ghosts. God. Who knows? You don't press. Instead, you stand on tiptoe and peek in the back of the cupboard where the cookie tin used to hide behind the oatmeal. That old blue tin. The one that once fooled every child in America into thinking it held cookies. You open it, and you find thread spools, a stray thimble, 2 buttons the color of thunderstorms. Of course, the cookie tin never had cookies. Or maybe it did once. Before memory solidified into ritual, before tins were for hope, not hunger. You turn around and spot something else you'd nearly forgotten. The corner shelf with her salt and pepper shakers, a chicken and an egg, a dog and a fire hydrant, Elvis and a peanut butter sandwich. No one ever used them. They were just there, waiting for a joke that never got told. Pick one, she says, pointing. You grab the Elvis one. She grabs the sandwich. You clink them together like a toast, and she chuckles. Then she gestures toward the table. Not the dining room one, the little side table near the window, the just us table. The one that always smelled like wood polish and sun-heated paper. She sits across from you and starts folding the laundry basket sitting there. Socks, washcloths, dish towels with worn-out strawberries. You grab a pair and match them, both blue, neither identical. And she says it again. Close enough. You think about that phrase for longer than any child should. You wonder if that's what love is. folding mismatched things and calling them a pair. Still wondering, you lean back in the chair, let the sun hit your eyelids through the dusty lace curtain, and hear a lawnmower start up 3 houses down. Maybe it's a plane, or maybe it's just your memory making up sounds so you don't have to leave. There's a creak in the floor behind you. You don't look. You know it's the house settling. But still, it feels like the ghosts here don't haunt. They hum. She finishes folding, stands, and wipes her hands on that same apron. And before she says it, you know what's coming. Go see what your grandpa's doing. You almost protest. You want to stay in this room. But she's smiling in that way that means you won't win. So you get up, step around the table, and kiss her cheek. Soft, warm, familiar like flannel sheets. She pats your head. Don't run in the house. You walk slowly on purpose. Because you already know these are the good plates. These are the good moments. And you don't get to keep them. You only get to live them once. You pause in the hallway, and just before you turn the corner, you whisper to yourself, "We still wonder if those plates ever broke after we left." You hope not. You hope they're still there, holding up biscuits and memories like they were always meant to. There's a particular kind of hush in the hallway that leads to the back bedroom. Not silence, hush. The kind that feels layered, like quiet that remembers noise. The wallpaper back here still has faded blue flowers, even though no one's bothered to repaste the peeling edge behind the lamp. That lamp hasn't been turned on since the Clinton administration, but its presence still demands respect. You walk past the framed photos on the wall, generations of serious faces, mostly in black and white, as if color hadn't been invented when they were alive. One of them always creeped you out as a kid, the one with the glassy-eyed uncle who everyone swore once wrestled a possum into a laundry basket. You never confirmed it. You didn't need to. The door to the back bedroom is already cracked open, which is funny because no one's supposed to use this room. It's the kind of place reserved for when company comes, though the last company that came was probably a borrowed ironing board in 1998. You step inside. It smells like powder and paper, like talcum, old catalog pages, and the ghost of lavender sachets that used to hang in the closet. The carpet has a slow give under your toes, like it's trying to remember how to be soft. And the bed, the twin with the brass headboard, is made perfectly. Of course it is. No one ever touches it. But somehow, you always ended up napping here. Because this room, it's the best-kept secret in the house. It's always cold, always dark enough, always full of filtered light through thick, yellowing curtains. And even though the mirror above the dresser gives you the heebie-jeebies for reasons you can't name, this is still the safest place you've ever closed your eyes. You lie down, not under the covers, just on top, like you used to. Arms folded, shoes off. And there, in the middle of a room no one uses, the past curls around you like a quilt. You stare up at the ceiling fan that doesn't spin anymore and wonder how many generations have done this same thing. Stared, napped, imagined. There's a radio in the corner. Not plugged in, not even upright. Just tilted slightly on its side like it passed out from telling too many stories. You remember when it still worked, crackling out the Braves game in the summers, gospel music on Sunday mornings, and the occasional rogue channel where a preacher shouted too loud. You reach into the nightstand drawer. There's a pack of playing cards with 3 missing, a half-burned candle that smells like birthday cake, and a pencil, sharpened down to the size of your pinky finger. It looks like it was once useful. Maybe it still is. You pull out the bottom drawer, slow and curious, and find what every grandchild secretly hopes to find: a photo album. The faux leather cover is peeling, but that makes it better. You flip through. Baby pictures, holiday shots, awkward school portraits with crooked collars and missing teeth. But there's one photo that always grabs you. the one with Grandma in it, young, maybe even younger than you are now. She's standing next to the old truck, wearing a dress you've never seen, holding a pie, because of course. And there's a handwritten caption underneath in blocky, faded pen. "First Christmas in this house." You stare at it longer than you mean to. We still wonder what she gave up to make that house a home. Because homes don't just appear. They're built, moment by moment, pie by pie, forgiveness by forgiveness. You never asked, and now maybe you won't. Outside the window, you hear a lawnmower, or maybe it's a cicada. Hard to tell from inside this quiet. You stretch. The ceiling fan's chain dangles, unmoved. The doily on the dresser curls at one edge like it's trying to grow wings. And the blanket at the foot of the bed still has that little snag where your cousin pulled too hard once during a sleepover that turned into a never again. You close your eyes for just a second, and that's when you hear it. The timer bell. The pie is ready. You sit up slowly, like the room is letting go of you in stages. You walk past the mirror, nope, still creepy, and pause at the doorway. Just long enough to whisper thank you to the room itself. It knows. It always knew. Then you slip back down the hallway, past the pictures, past the glass-eyed possum wrestler, back toward the kitchen. The scent hits you halfway. Cinnamon, butter, a little burnt edge maybe. Just right. She's already slicing it before you can ask. And she knows which plate to use. Of course she does. You carry the plate with reverence, like it's holy. Because in this house, pie isn't just dessert. It's currency, it's apology, it's reward. It's the answer to every question you didn't know how to ask. You take it to the porch. That porch. Long and wooden, with slats that snag bare feet and gaps wide enough to lose a marble. The railing's a little warped now, and one of the posts leans like it's been tired since the 60s. But it holds. It always holds. You sit down on the swing, the same one that's been there since, well, since always. The chains creak just enough to let you know they're still working, and the seat cushions have long since surrendered to time. There's a little stuffing poking out of the side. You know it's there. You've known for 20 years. No one fixes it. Grandma sits beside you, easing herself down like gravity's just a suggestion. She's got her own plate and a cup of coffee that's been reheated at least twice today. You both stare out at the yard like it's a stage. And maybe it is, because here comes the first act, the wind rustling the tall grass near the fence line. The second act, a dog barking 2 houses over. You've never met the dog, don't need to. Its bark is a character in this place. You take a bite of the pie. The crust flakes like it's ashamed of being that perfect. The filling hits all the right notes, warm, spiced, a little too sweet. Like her. You don't say much. You never had to. Porch swings were made for silence and shared dessert. Then, as if on cue, she pulls a piece of butterscotch from her apron pocket. No wrapper, just a small gold candy, slightly fuzzy from lint, handed over like a secret treasure map. She slips it into your palm without a word, as if the silence is part of the ritual. No one agrees whether butterscotch ever really tasted good, or if it just tasted like childhood. You pop it in your mouth anyway. It's sharp, sweet, melts slow, and with it comes 100 memories, sticky fingers on church pews, candy dishes that were never empty, and the sound of her voice saying, "One's enough." But it never really was. You rock together, back and forth. Slow, so slow the swing might as well be still. She points with her chin, because that's how grandmas point, and says, "Tomatoes will be ready next week." You nod, even though you won't be here next week. You don't say it. She knows. She always knows. Then she leans in close like she's about to tell you something sacred. But instead, She says, "You ever notice how the birds don't argue out here?" You laugh through your nose. She smiles like that was the point. You look out again, this time letting your eyes wander to the little things. The crack in the bird bath that never leaked. The broken wind chime that still tried its best. The pair of lawn chairs stacked in the corner, one missing a rubber foot. And right there by the edge of the porch, the jar, an old mason jar with fireflies. Your heart skips. You remember. That summer, the one when the power went out, when you caught fireflies until midnight and forgot to be afraid of the dark. She reaches down and lifts the jar gently, like she's picking up an old friend. "I think this one's still in there," she whispers, holding it up to the sun. There's nothing inside now, just smudges and hope. But you nod anyway, because sometimes pretending is the kindest thing you can do. She sets it back down. The swing creaks, the wind sighs, and you take another bite of pie that's somehow still warm. You stare out past the yard, where the fence fades into fields and trees you never learned the names of. You ask the kind of question you never asked as a kid. "Did you always know I'd come back?" She doesn't answer right away, just rocks, slow and steady, watching the clouds do their best impression of forgetting. Finally, she says, "I hoped." That's close enough. We still wonder how many prayers in this world were just long, silent hopes like that. You finish the pie. Crust crumbs on your shirt, sticky spot on your thumb. It doesn't matter. No one wipes up on the porch swing. That's a rule. You lean your head on her shoulder, and she leans hers on yours. The birds still aren't arguing. And in the quiet, you hear something softer than sound. Forgiveness. The sun shifts just enough to change the color of everything. It turns the wood golden, the grass greener, and the sky that perfect early evening blue, the kind you only ever see from porches that creak and forgive. You and Grandma sit a little longer, not because there's something to talk about, but because silence doesn't feel empty here. It feels earned. Eventually, she pats your knee and says, "Go see how the garden's doing." Which, in Grandma speak, means go play, go wander, go find something that's not a screen or a worry or a responsibility. So you step off the porch and onto the cracked flagstone path. Each stone is a different shape, like a puzzle only she could finish. You've tripped on the same one near the rosemary bush every summer since 1993. You do it again, almost on purpose. The yard is its own country. A sovereign land ruled by tomatoes, green beans, and one deeply judgmental scarecrow with a head made of an old pillowcase and a hat that belonged to someone named Herbert. No one remembers who Herbert was, just that his hat still earns its keep. You pause near the tomatoes. They're fat, stubborn, and glowing in the sunlight, like red lanterns on green vines. You touch one. It's warm. It gives a little but doesn't break. She once told you that was how you knew something was ready, when it gave a little but didn't quit. You file that away, like everything else she's ever said that felt like it was about more than vegetables. Beyond the tomatoes, the marigolds bloom like fireworks with better timing. And behind them, the mint patch. Untamed, wild, smelling like toothpaste and childhood, and one summer where you tried to sell mint bouquets to passing cars for 25 cents. You sold 0, but Grandma paid you anyway. That's called believing in yourself, she said. And also inflation. There's the gnome, half buried near the honeysuckle. His hat chipped, his face permanently suspicious. He terrified you when you were 6. You once swore he blinked. You still kind of believe it. You glance back at the house. She's still on the porch, watching without watching. That's her magic trick. She always sees, but never hovers. Her presence is like the breeze, there if you need it, invisible if you don't. You walk past the laundry line. Sheets sway like ghosts learning to dance. The clothespins rattle like wooden castanets. A pair of bloomers flaps proudly, undeterred by fashion trends or the existence of neighbors. You remember helping her hang them. She always made it a game. "You get the socks, I'll get the unmentionables," she'd say with a wink that made you feel grown up and in on something. We still wonder if anyone actually enjoys folding fitted sheets, or if they just lie about it. Near the fence, you find the spot where the watermelon used to grow. It's bare now, just dry dirt and a few weeds. But you remember when it was the promised land. You and your cousins would check it daily, poking it gently, whispering to it like it needed encouragement. When the big one finally ripened, she let you smash it open in the yard. Not cut, smash. It exploded like happiness, pink and sticky and full of black seeds you were absolutely told not to swallow, unless you wanted to grow a watermelon in your belly. You spit 20 just to be safe. That day, you waited until your shirt stuck to your stomach and your lips turned red. The dog got the rind. The ants got everything else. You plop down in the grass near where it happened. The spot still feels holy. And just then, from somewhere near the porch, you hear her call. "There's lemonade in the fridge." Of course there is. You brush the grass off your legs and head back. The screen door squeaks its familiar welcome, and the kitchen smells like cooled pie and something citrusy, lemons maybe. Or that one dish soap she always used that somehow smelled more like summer than any candle ever could. The fridge is older than you. It hums like it has a secret. Inside, the lemonade waits in a pitcher with a flower painted on it and a little condensation sliding down like it's trying to escape before you drink it. You pour yourself a glass into a jelly jar. Because here, jelly jars are cups. Always have been. You take a sip. Cold, sharp, sweet. And then you open the silverware drawer, just because. It sticks halfway, then gives. Inside, a chaos of spoons, rubber bands, twist ties, coupons from 2014, and that one corn holder shaped like a chicken foot. No one ever used it. You still love it. That drawer, it's the soul of the kitchen. It holds everything and nothing. Secrets and spare keys, pens that don't work, and one pair of sunglasses with only one lens. You close it gently, because you know nothing in there is replaceable. Not really. You carry the jelly jar of lemonade out the back door this time, the one that sticks unless you lift it slightly while pulling. It's a move you learned before you learned cursive. The screen slaps behind you, but not loud enough to wake the birds in the oak tree. There's a hush out here that feels different from the front porch. It's not just quieter, it's older. Like the backyard remembers more than you do. You wander past the clothesline, past the mint, and find her again. She's on the other swing now, the wooden bench under the old oak, the one with the paint peeling off like it's had too many stories whispered into it. She's sipping her own lemonade, of course, from a proper glass with ice cubes that clink like distant wind chimes. You sit beside her. The bench creaks. Everything in this house creaks. Floorboards, screen doors, swing sets, even the silence. But nothing breaks. That's the point. "Thirsty?" she asks, even though you're already halfway through your drink. You nod anyway. She reaches into her apron again. Another butterscotch, like a magic trick. This one's wrapped. Fancy. You take it with ceremony. The air smells like summer after a thunderstorm, even though it hasn't rained in days. That smell might just be the earth exhaling. You look out across the backyard and remember when this space was an entire kingdom. There was a tire swing once, a sandbox, a fort made of broken patio chairs, and a blanket that definitely wasn't meant to be outdoors. You found treasures here, rocks shaped like hearts, a bottle cap from 1972, one perfect feather that you kept in your pocket for a week. She once told you, "You can't grow tall if you don't get dirty. That stuck, like burrs in your socks, like chewing gum under the picnic table, like all the best things do. You glance to your left and see it, the picnic table. Still here, still splintery, still holding its own under the weight of time and barbecue stains, and that one tiny carving you made with a fork when you thought no one was watching. She was. She didn't stop you. Instead, she came out 10 minutes later, looked at the initials and said, "Well, now it's ours forever." You never told anyone what the letters stood for. We still wonder how many secrets were kept out here, just between the wind and the weeds. She sets her glass down. "Come help me with the figs." Of course, the fig tree. You follow her to the corner of the yard, where it leans like a tired uncle at a reunion. Heavy with fruit, branches low, leaves like giant hands waving you closer. You never liked figs as a kid. You thought they were too mushy, too weird. But she loved them, so you learn to love them too. She picks with practiced hands. You try to match her rhythm, but your figs squish too easily. She laughs. Gentle, everything bruises when it's ready. Another lesson disguised as gardening. You fill a small bowl. She fills two. Back on the swing, she pulls out a butter knife and slices one open. The inside glows pink and gold and slightly alien. "Taste it," she says. You do. And just like every year, it's better than you remembered. Sweeter. More alive. Maybe you've changed. Maybe figs haven't. You eat 3, maybe 4. You lose count. Don't eat too many, she warns. They'll find their way back to you. Too late. You lean back on the swing. Let your legs stretch out into the last sunbeam of the day. Your cup is empty. Your hands are sticky. Your heart is fuller than it should be for someone who hasn't actually done anything all day. But that's the trick, isn't it? This place doesn't need action. It needs stillness. Participation through presence. Existence as enough. She hums something. An old hymn, maybe. Or the theme song to a show that stopped airing when people stopped rewinding VHS tapes. You close your eyes and let the creak of the swing rock you backward into time. Back to the moment you realized the stars didn't blink. They just flickered through tree branches. Back to the first time you stayed here alone and didn't feel lonely. Back to the Saturday morning she let you sleep in while the rest of the world moved without you. You remember all of it. And yet somehow, you know you're still forgetting something important. Some tiny moment, a word, a smell, a sock color, a breeze. We still wonder if memory picks favorites or just holds on to what we need most. You open your eyes. She's watching you. "Wanna lick the bowl?" she asks, already standing. It's not a question. It's a ceremony. You follow her inside, through the screen door that slaps like punctuation at the end of a sentence only you two understand. The light in the kitchen has changed. It's softer now, tinted by the golden hour. Everything is glowing. Her countertops, her glasses, even the linoleum floor. You swear the house breathes with the day. On the counter sits the mixing bowl, still streaked with vanilla, cinnamon, and something intangible. Comfort, maybe. She hands you a rubber spatula, the kind with the wooden handle and a crack near the top. You used to chew on that handle. She never scolded you, just quietly put it back in the drawer like nothing happened. You dip the spatula into the bowl and swipe a thick ribbon of filling. The flavor hits like time travel, sweet, warm, slightly gritty. You close your eyes and let it melt. And then she says it. "You always liked the bowl more than the pie." You smile. She's right. Somehow licking the bowl felt more intimate, like being let into a secret before the world got to taste it. You scrape every last bit. She watches like she's timing it. When you finish, she hands you the spoon. "Double prize," she says, just like always. Then you glance up. There it is. On top of the fridge, the cookie jar, the ceramic one shaped like a pig, or maybe a cat. No one can ever agree what it was supposed to be. It's chipped now. A crack runs from ear to tail, but it's still smiling. You point. She nods. You reach for it like you're stealing something holy. Inside are exactly 3 cookies, 2 oatmeal raisin, 1 chocolate chip. You take the chip. It's warm somehow, even though it's been in there since Tuesday. "Don't tell your cousins," she says, sipping her tea. You won't. You never do. The 2 of you sit down at the little round table near the window, the one with the vinyl tablecloth that sticks to your elbows in the summer. A breeze moves the curtain. The radio clicks on, unprompted, as if it missed you. A low voice croons something from the 60s. Neither of you names the song. You don't have to. Then she says it. "Time for the drawer." Ah, yes, that drawer. The one with no name, no label, just a single brass pull and decades of mystery. She slides it open like revealing treasure. Inside, rubber bands, grocery lists on the backs of envelopes, 3 pens that don't work, a single glove with no match, a folded-up recipe for lemon chess pie, written in a handwriting that is and isn't hers. There's a spool of thread in a shade of green no fabric has ever been. A coupon for 15 cents off Cascade that expired in 2004. A safety pin hooked to another safety pin, which makes you inexplicably emotional. You pull out a yo-yo, a real wooden one. Red, chipped, still wound. She raises an eyebrow. "Bet you can't make it sleep." You try. You fail. It clunks to the floor and rolls under the cabinet. You both laugh like it's the best punchline of the week. We still wonder how every junk drawer manages to hold one item from every decade at once. You drop the yo-yo back in. She pulls out a stack of coasters, all mismatched. One from a bowling alley, one shaped like Texas, one crocheted by someone named Inez, who may or may not be real. She slides you the Texas one. "You always liked the shape," she says. You did. You do. You rest your cup on it, feeling suddenly patriotic for no reason. Then, she pulls out the crown jewel, the photo. It's the one of all the cousins on the swing set. The year you wore that orange striped shirt and nobody told you it clashed with your shorts. The one where Grandma's in the background, laughing with her hand over her mouth like something wildly inappropriate just got whispered. You hold it carefully. The edges are soft, worn, like skin after a warm bath. She leans in. "I don't remember what was so funny." You do. You'll never tell. Some memories aren't for sharing. They're for guarding, like embers in a coffee can. Outside, the sun finally kisses the horizon. The kitchen turns peach, the kind of peach that doesn't exist on paint, swatches, or filters. Only in moments like this. You set the photo back in the drawer, gently, like putting a baby to sleep. Then she closes the drawer with 2 hands, soft, final. "You want to help me water the front porch plants?" You nod, because of course. You rise, your knees pop, her ankles crack. She says, "We sound like fireworks." You both laugh again. No one claps, no one needs to. The front porch plants are always thirstier than they look. That's what she says every time, as she hands you the dented green watering can with the sticker half peeled off, an old American flag that's lost most of its stars. The can is lighter than you remember, or maybe you're stronger now. Either way, it fits in your hand like it used to. You fill it from the hose spigot on the side of the house, the one with the rusted handle and a small spider living behind it, like rents-free, but the job is eternal. The water runs cold and clear, and for some reason, that makes you want to drink it straight from the hose like you did when you were 7, back when you thought the green rubber added flavor and your immune system was made of steel. Grandma doesn't warn you. She just watches you with that look. You know the one. The "I've seen worse" look. The "go ahead, kid" look. She invented that look. You head back to the porch and start with the fern. It's in the same hanging basket it's always been in, suspended from a chain so old it hums a little when you water too fast. The fern sags in thanks, or maybe it's just tired of pretending it's not fake. Next is the row of geraniums in their cracked terracotta pots. One has a name, Dottie. No one knows why. You water her anyway. There's the aloe plant that's been resurrected 5 times, the stubborn one-legged ceramic duck, the basil that's mostly ambition, and of course the tiny pot of clover that might be weeds, but she insists are Irish. She waters with you, her pace slower, steadier, like the plants understand her language better than yours. You don't talk while you do it, because watering is a ceremony, not a task. The sun slips lower, casting long golden shadows across the porch. The swing is empty now, rocking ever so slightly, like it misses you. You finish the last pot and sit beside it, letting your hands rest in your lap. Water droplets splash against your shins and soak the hem of your socks. You don't care. Then she reaches into her apron again. You think, another butterscotch? But this time, she pulls out a folded scrap of paper. You recognize the creases. That's not any old note. That's the note. The one you wrote when you were 10 and swore you were running away. She kept it. Of course she did. You open it and read your own childhood handwriting. "Dear Grandma, I'm running away because I'm mad, but I'll be back for dinner. Love me." You laugh. She doesn't. Instead, she says, "You packed 2 socks, a flashlight, and a can of peaches." You shake your head. No can opener. She taps her temple. "I know. That's why I didn't chase you." The porch lights flicker on, those fat yellow bulbs that give everything the color of toast. Moths start doing their slow motion dances, bouncing against the glass like they're trying to remember something important. You look down at the note again. We still wonder if every runaway plan was really just a test, to see who would wait. She gets up and dusts off her knees. "Let's go sit before the bugs take over." You both move to the swing again. This time she leans back with a sigh that belongs in a poem. You glance at the stars beginning to show themselves. 1, then 2, then a whole mess of them, like freckles on the sky's face. She nudges you with her elbow. "Remember that story I never finished telling?" You nod. You always wondered what happened after the pie burned and she stopped mid-sentence. It's been years, maybe decades. She starts again. "Well, I was about your age, and I just learned how to lie." You lean in. "But I was bad at it, the kind of bad that makes your mother laugh instead of yell." You ask what she lied about. She smiles. "My age." Pause. "I told a boy I was 17 when I was really 15. You raise an eyebrow. This is already better than the usual bedtime story. "He brought me a daisy and called me ma'am." That's when I knew it was over. You both laugh, loud and without apology. The porch creaks with the sound of a life lived right. You glance down at the wooden floor and see it. Your initials, carved into the corner with the tip of a plastic fork the summer you stayed for a week straight. Still there, still crooked, still yours. She sees you looking. She says, "Some things don't need fixing." You nod, then whisper, "Some things wouldn't be better if they were." The stars are out in full now, scattered across the sky like someone flung sugar across navy blue velvet. You and Grandma sit in the gentle creak of the porch swing, not saying much. You don't have to. The swing says it all. She leans her head back, looks at the sky, and sighs. "You ever think about how we used to know the names of constellations?" You nod slowly. It's true. Once upon a time, someone taught you. Maybe her, maybe a camp counselor, maybe a book. But now, you just call them stars and hope they forgive you. She points vaguely. That one's Orion, or maybe it's just a plane. You laugh, and then you remember something strange. Didn't Grandpa used to swear he saw UFOs from this porch? She smiles with her teeth and her eyes. 3 different ones, or one that really liked him. You look out past the yard, toward the field that fades into the horizon. The fireflies have taken over now, blinking like they're passing notes across the dark. It's the same rhythm as always. Blink, wait, reply. As if even insects remember what it means to speak gently. You glance at the garden and wonder how it can look so alive at night. The tomatoes seem proud, the mint glows silver, and the scarecrow, he looks a little less scary. Then, as if on cue, she rises. Come on, let's check the bedroom, the good one. Ah, yes, the good bedroom. Not because it has the best mattress or the fluffiest pillows. It doesn't. It's good because it's hers, because it smells like her lotion and faint lavender, because the air in there is always just the right temperature, no matter the season, and because you slept there once when you were sick, and somehow that was enough to fix everything. You follow her inside, through the screen, past the cookie jar, past the drawer full of lives. The hallway seems longer at night, more sacred. You reach the door, and she opens it with the same motion she's used your whole life. Slow, careful, like she's inviting you into something holy. The room is just like you remember. Lace curtains, a lamp with a pleated shade, a stack of Reader's Digests on the nightstand. The quilt, hand-stitched, faded, slightly too short for anyone over 5 feet tall, but perfect. You sit on the bed. It squeaks, the good kind of squeak. She walks over to the closet and pulls something down from the top shelf. It's the box. You forgot about the box. It's shoebox-sized, wrapped in brown paper that's been peeled back and retaped a dozen times. Inside, letters, notes, photos, bits of string, buttons, ticket stubs from a drive-in movie that doesn't exist anymore. She hands you one of the letters. Folded 3 times, yellowed at the edges, the ink smudged just slightly, as if it had been cried on once, long ago, but not by her. You open it. It's from your mom, written when she was your age, talking about missing home, about not knowing what she was doing, about being scared but pretending not to be. You feel something tighten in your chest. You ask, why do you keep these? She shrugs. Because people forget their own stories. Someone has to hold them. You hand her the letter back, but she shakes her head. Number, that one's yours now. You fold it carefully and place it in your pocket. It feels heavier than it should. You look around the room again. There's the clock that ticks just loud enough to notice, but not loud enough to annoy. There's the jewelry box that sings the same 3-note tune every time you open it. There's the pillow you used to steal because it smelled like her shampoo. She sits beside you. You ready to sleep? She asks. You aren't. Not really. But you nod. Because this house has a way of rocking you to rest before your body even knows it's tired. She pats your knee. Brush your teeth, though. I don't care how old you are. You laugh. She hands you a spare toothbrush from the same drawer it's always been in, wrapped in foil like a piece of silverware from a forgotten wedding. You go brush. The bathroom light hums. The faucet squeals. The mirror fogs even when the water's cold. When you return, she's pulled back the covers. The sheets are cool. The blanket is heavy in the best way. She tucks you in. Yes, tucks. Even now, even still, you don't protest. Because here, you're always welcome to be small. We still wonder how long love lasts. Turns out, longer than bedtime. She kisses your forehead, turns off the light. leaves the door just slightly open, just like always. You lay in the dark, the kind of dark that doesn't frighten. It hugs. The hallway light spills gently into the room through the cracked door, painting soft gold lines across the carpet like a memory that refused to stay behind. Your body relaxes before your mind does. That always happens here. The bed creaks as you shift under the weight of the quilt. You run your fingers along the stitched edges, flowers, stars, zigzags that don't quite match. Some of the thread is fraying, and one square is suspiciously shaped like a dinosaur, though no one's ever confirmed it. This quilt wasn't made for decoration. It was made for survival, for warmth and winter nights when the power flickered, for fevers, for long stories and longer naps. It's held more generations than you can count, and now it holds you. Outside, the crickets have started their nightly orchestra, a low hum, steady, familiar, like they're bowing tiny violins behind the screen door. You close your eyes, then open them again. The room looks the same as it always has. To your right, the tall dresser with the drawer that never quite closes all the way. The top of it holds a snow globe with a tiny cabin inside and glitter that never fully settles. To your left, the rocking chair. That chair has been around since Moses, or at least since you were born. No one knows where it came from. It just showed up one day, already squeaky, already creaky, already perfect. Sometimes when no one was looking, you'd sit in it with a book that was too old for you, pretending to understand words like melancholy and eloquent. You'd rock too hard, almost tip over, then swear to never tell. Once, you saw Grandma sitting there with her eyes closed, holding a photo in her lap. You didn't ask who it was. You didn't need to. We still wonder how many tears that chair quietly caught and never told anyone about. You shift again, and something slips out from under the pillow. A small notebook. You open it slowly, the pages soft with age. Inside are scribbles, your own, from when you were maybe 8, maybe 9. Stories about aliens and pirates and a dog named Henry who could time travel. She kept it. Even the page where you wrote, "I hate math," and then immediately drew a smiling sun to soften the blow. You traced the old pencil lines, the way your letters tilted too far, the way you spelled adventure with an extra R. You weren't wrong. Your childhood was full of adventures. A knock on the door frame. Not really a knock, more of a polite tap. Grandma's silhouette stands there, holding something. "I thought you might want this," she says. It's a glass of water. You take it. Cold, beaded with condensation. And then she hands you something else. A small stuffed bear, the one you thought was long gone. The one whose nose is missing and whose belly seam was stitched back together with pink thread that never matched. You look at her, half in disbelief. "I keep the good stuff," she says, as if it's the most natural thing in the world. You hold the bear. It smells faintly like her perfume and dust and years. You clutch it tight. She doesn't say goodnight again. She already did that. She just smiles, turns back toward the hallway, and lets the silence settle behind her like a closing curtain. You turn back to the pillow. Tuck the bear beneath your chin. The blanket shifts with your breath. And in the dark, your mind starts to float, not forward but back. Back to the sound of the ice cream truck 3 blocks away, the metallic clang of a screen door in July, the smell of chalk on your hands after drawing on the sidewalk until the streetlights came on, the slosh of dishwater and her voice humming something untraceable, the creak of a floorboard under your midnight snack feet, the whistle she'd used to call you in, 2 notes, sharp and perfect. They all return, in layers, like a lullaby with too many verses to forget. And still, you aren't quite asleep. So you whisper aloud into the quilt, Remember that time I fell out of the tree? No one answers, but the room smiles anyway. You close your eyes, and just before you drift off, the last thought that bubbles up is simple. She never stopped catching me. You wake up before the sun, not fully, just enough to register that you're warm, safe, and still in that bed, the one with the soft mattress and the firmer memory. The house is quiet, but not the kind of quiet that means something's wrong. The kind of quiet that holds coffee brewing somewhere far off and birds slowly deciding whether or not to start their day. You lie still for a while, listening. Tick, tick, tick. That's the old wall clock in the hallway. Still ticking. Still right twice a day, even when it's wrong. You sit up, blanket slipping off your shoulders like a slow exhale. The stuffed bear's still next to you, arms outstretched like it fell asleep mid-celebration. The floor is cold under your feet, but you don't mind. You walk down the hallway, stepping around the one squeaky floorboard you've always known to avoid, even in the dark. Some things are instinctual. In the kitchen, she's already moving. She's in her robe, the faded blue one with the embroidery that's unraveled on one side. She's humming, not a song exactly, more like a tone the house knows by heart. The coffee pot burbles softly, and the light above the sink casts everything in a kind of gentle halo. You sit down without a word. She hands you a mug, not coffee but cocoa, the real kind, made in a pot, with milk. You take a sip, still too hot, still perfect. You both stare out the window. It's foggy outside, but the kind of fog that makes things feel closer, not farther away. Dream good? She asks without looking. You nod. You talked in your sleep. What did I say? She smiles. Something about dinosaurs and pudding. That tracks. She places a plate of toast in front of you, cut into triangles, still buttered to the edges, still warm. We still wonder why toast never tastes that good anywhere else in the world. You eat in silence, a bite, a sip, a moment. Then you notice something in the center of the table, a small bowl, painted ceramic, the same one that always sat there, even when it didn't hold anything. Today it holds buttons, dozens of them. You reach in, letting them clink under your fingers. Plastic, metal, one shaped like a star, another with 4 holes that somehow always reminds you of your grandpa's suspenders. What are these from? You ask. She shrugs. Everything. Do you ever throw any away? She laughs. What if I need it? You want to argue, but you don't. Because she's right. Life is full of buttons, lost, mismatched, unthreaded. You don't know where they belong, but one day you will. You finish the cocoa. She pours another half cup, just enough to keep the moment going. Then she reaches across the table and opens the junk drawer again. Today, it holds a strip of stamps with Santa faces, a hotel keycard from a trip you never took, a coupon for pudding, a half-solved crossword, and one Polaroid, slightly curled at the edges. She slides the Polaroid over to you. It's a picture of you, maybe 8, maybe 9, wearing a Batman cape and your church shoes, holding up a slice of pie like it's a championship trophy. You grin. She doesn't say anything, because she doesn't have to. You ask, "Why'd you keep this one?" She points at the background. There she is, in the kitchen, laughing, caught mid-motion. Flour on her nose, spatula in hand. You never noticed her in the picture before, but now you can't stop looking. She taps the photo. That was a good day. It was, even if you didn't remember it until just now. We still wonder how many photos hold things we didn't see until years later. The morning stretches on slowly. You sit, you sip, you listen to the creak of the house, you watch the fog lift. You feel time move, but not urgently, like it's strolling instead of sprinting. And in the middle of it all, you realize you've never really left this place, even when you did, even when you grew up, even when she got older and the house got quieter. Part of you stayed here, wrapped in a quilt, sipping cocoa, tracing buttons. Later that morning, she sends you to the attic. Not in a go-get-something kind of way, but in that gentle, mischievous tone she uses when she wants to surprise you without admitting it. "There's a box up there," she says. "You'll know which one." So you go. The attic stairs groan like they're auditioning for a haunted house, and the pull-string light buzzes to life like it's trying to remember how electricity works. The air smells like time. Not dust, not mildew. Time. You duck beneath a beam, avoiding the spot where you hit your head as a kid. That moment lives in infamy, of course. Family legend. Grandma gave you a popsicle and told you to walk it off. You find the box almost immediately. It's labeled in marker. 4 later. Later, huh? You drag it toward the light and sit cross-legged on the creaky wooden floor. Inside, treasure. Old board games with missing pieces. A Viewmaster with only 2 reels, one of Disney castles, the other of the Grand Canyon. A scarf that might have once been stylish, if ever worn. And then, the real prize. A small metal lunchbox, not vintage, not collectible, just yours. The one with the Ninja Turtles on the front, scratched and faded. You pry it open. Inside, 2 friendship bracelets made of rainbow thread, a sticker sheet with exactly 1 sticker left, a folded-up comic you tried to draw, and a note in your handwriting. "If I ever forget this stuff, remind me I was cool once." You laugh, loud enough that the rafters echo. She knew you'd find this. She knew today was later. You keep digging. There's a box of cassette tapes, recorded off the radio, complete with your own DJ voice between songs. You flip one over and read the scribble. "Road trip mix, don't judge me." As if anyone could. You spot a photo album wedged beneath a blanket. You open it slowly. This one's different. It's all Grandma, as a kid, as a teen, her wedding day. Holding your mother as a baby, holding you. And then, tucked in the very back, something handwritten, a recipe card. You already know what it is. Her pie. But this one's not for show. This one has notes in the margins. Use less sugar if apples are sweet. Add cinnamon if it's a Tuesday. Let them lick the spoon. You trace the edges of the card. This is what legacy looks like. Not granite, not portraits, but scribbles on stained index cards and the way she remembered how you liked your pie crusts, just a little too done. We still wonder if recipes are just coded memories passed down in butter and trust. You close the album, fold the scarf, tuck everything back except the lunchbox and the recipe. Those come with you. You head back downstairs, your hands full, your chest fuller. She's waiting on the porch again. Swinging, of course. Mug in hand. A crossword balanced on her lap, half solved. You sit beside her and place the lunchbox between you. She grins. "I was wondering when you'd open that." You hand her the recipe. She holds it like a photograph, or a passport. "I thought I lost this," she whispers. Then she tucks it into her apron pocket like a secret. The kind you keep, not the kind you hide. "You feel different," she says, studying you like the morning sky. "I think I remember more now." She nods. "That's what coming home does. It doesn't teach you anything new. It reminds you what you already knew." You rock in sync with her. The swing creaks, the breeze dances, and something about the moment makes you feel like everything in the world is exactly where it's supposed to be. Even you. She looks at the lunchbox again. "Still think you were cool once?" You smirk. "Still am." She raises her mug. To then, you tap your empty cocoa cup against hers. To now, she chuckles. Same thing, really. And just like that, you both fall into a silence that isn't empty. It's holy. The kind of quiet only earned by people who've lived enough to know that words are nice. But memories are enough. The day stretches like warm taffy, slow, golden, and sticky with meaning. You and Grandma don't do much, which is kind of the point. There are no schedules here, no meetings, no buzzes from phones demanding anything. Just the rhythm of a house that knows how to rest. After lunch, which is predictably a sandwich on white bread with the crusts cut off and chips from a bag rolled down tight with a clothespin, she sends you to the garage. You remember the red box, she asks. You nod. Of course. The garage is cooler than the house somehow, despite the concrete and dust and smell of old paint and rubber. It smells like Dad, or Grandpa, or uncles who used to fix things and leave coffee mugs on tool benches like offerings. You spot the red box immediately. Still where it's always been. Top shelf, left corner, behind the fishing poles no one uses anymore. You pull it down. The latch squeaks. The lid groans. Inside, toys. Not the kind you see in commercials, the kind that survive. A jump rope with one handle missing. Jacks and a bouncy ball scuffed to oblivion. A tin car that somehow still has its wheels. And, of course, the marbles. So many marbles. Swirled, chipped, perfect. The heavy kind that clink like real currency when they hit each other. You dig your hands in like treasure. Cold glass. Smooth memories. There's one marble in particular, milky white with a ribbon of orange. You always said it was lava. She always agreed. You bring the box out to the porch. She raises an eyebrow. You found lava, she says with a grin. You sit down on the steps, the box between you, and start sorting. Shooter. Cat's eye. Steely. One shaped like an eyeball for Halloween. One with glitter inside. The sparkle's faded, but it's still there, stubborn as joy. You play around on the porch, just one. Your knuckles still remember how to flick. Hers, surprisingly precise. You cheated, she says when you knock 3 in a row. You flinched, you reply. You sneezed on my shooter. Strategy. You both laugh so hard the marbles roll everywhere, and neither of you tries to stop them. We still wonder why some games only make sense when you're losing them together. Eventually, she scoops them back into the box, one by one, narrating each like a ceremony. This one's for summer. This one's for scraped knees. This one's for the day we got rained out at the lake and made grilled cheese just to rebel. That last one, it's new to you. You weren't there, but it feels like you were. Because her stories do that. They include you even when you weren't born yet. You take lava and put it in your pocket. She notices but doesn't comment. Instead, she hands you a photo album from under her chair. This one's thinner. Black cover, gold-trimmed pages. Inside, Polaroids of birthday parties, blurry pets, you in cowboy boots on Christmas morning. One with cake on your face, one with tears in your eyes after losing a balloon. She flips to a page with a post-it stuck to it. On it, your name, in her handwriting. These are yours, she says. You blink. No, I mean really, I've been saving them. You stare down at the page. It's you at every age you forgot you were. 3 and wild-eyed with spaghetti sauce on your cheeks. 7 and proud, holding a book upside down but with total confidence. 12, hiding a zit behind a pizza slice. 16, blurry in the background, because you didn't want your photo taken anymore. She looks at you like she's handing you a treasure map. And she is. Because this album, it's proof. Proof that you existed in every form, and she loved all of them. Even the versions that weren't fully formed yet. even the ones that thought they didn't need her. We still wonder if the people who take our pictures ever know how much we'll need them later. You close the album and tuck it under your arm, like something too fragile to leave behind. She leans back in the rocking chair and looks out at the sky, now blooming into late afternoon. "You got room for peach cobbler?" she asks. You don't, but you say yes anyway, because some yeses are ceremonial.
The cobbler is in the oven before you even smell it. That's Grandma's way. She moves quietly, gently, like a breeze that already folded your laundry before you noticed it was gone. You sit at the kitchen table again, the one that's always sticky in the same spot near the sugar jar. The vinyl tablecloth has tiny lemons printed across it. You trace one with your fingertip as the kitchen starts to warm up, not just from the oven, but from the story that's about to be baked. She hums. You don't ask what song it is. She probably doesn't know either. Some melody made of memory and muscle memory. From your seat, you can see the backyard again, the lights shifting, the scarecrow's now nothing more than a silhouette, but somehow he still stands like he's guarding something sacred. The timer dings. She grabs the mitt that doesn't match anything else in the kitchen plaid, burn splotched, shaped vaguely like a lobster. Clawin pulls the cobbler out with the reverence of a priest lifting a relic. The smell hits you like truth. Peaches, butter, vanilla, and something else. Something not quite edible but still nourishing. Maybe it's the crust. Maybe it's home. She sets it on the counter and doesn't speak. Just smiles. And you remember how every cobbler she's ever made has been this good divan, the ones that burned on the edges, even the ones she made when the power went out and she had to finish them on a camp stove. You remember the one she made the day your dog died. You didn't want to eat, but she cut you a slice anyway, handed you a spoon, and said, "Just hold it. You don't have to eat it." You ate the whole thing, crying the entire time. She didn't say anything, just kept folding towels at the sink. You remember that now. She scoops you a portion warm but not scalding, with a scoop of vanilla ice cream melting into the cracks like forgiveness. You sit, you eat. It tastes like every time you didn't know what you needed until it was already in front of you. She eats too, slower than you, like each bite is a memory she's checking off. One peach for your first haircut, one for your skinned knees, one for the time you tried to run away and made it exactly to the neighbor's driveway before coming back because you forgot your toothbrush. You both finish. You lean back, and then she says it, "Let's go through the box." Your eyes shift to the hallway, the hall closet, that mysterious portal of doom and wonder that every child feared and adored in equal measure. She opens it like a magician preparing a finale. The door groans, the air smells like cedar, mothballs, and a little bit of mystery. She pulls out the box, not the red one, not the lunchbox. The box, the one with everything. Old report cards, drawings, letters you wrote to the tooth fairy, that spelling test where you wrote quite instead of quite, and she put a gold star on it anyway. She spreads it all out on the floor like a gallery. And there it is, the shoelace slingshot, the one you made in secret, the one you hid in the bushes, the one you were convinced would launch acorns, miles. She saved it. It's frayed, it's sad, it's absolutely glorious. You pick it up. "Why'd you keep this?" She shrugs. "Because it was yours." Simple, true. You hold it gently, like it's more than rubber and lace, because it is. Next, she hands you a piece of paper, a note scribbled in crayon. You wrote it, you're sure. It says, "I love you more than dinosaurs and grilled cheese." You blink, then laugh, then almost cry. She doesn't say a word, just folds it, hands it back, and says, "Put that somewhere safe." You do. We still wonder if the little versions of ourselves ever knew how deeply they'd be loved. You sit in the hallway together, knees creaking, backs against the wall, surrounded by relics that never made it to museums. And then she says it, "You know, someday this will all be yours." You want to say something clever. You don't, because in that moment, all the words in the world seem too small. So you just nod and whisper, "I'll take care of it." And you mean the house, and the drawer, and the recipe, and the swing, and her, especially her. Evening comes again, soft and slow, like it knows this is the last one for a while. The light fades from golden to lavender, then to the kind of blue that only appears in places where people sit still long enough to see it. You and Grandma are on the porch. Again, there's nowhere else you'd rather be. The swing is still warm from the afternoon. The cushions still bear the imprint of both your bodies, like the porch itself is trying to remember you. You sip tea this time, herbal, lukewarm, and exactly right. She has coffee, always coffee. Probably reheated, probably the same cup from this morning. She says it ages like wisdom. You're pretty sure that's not true. You let it go. She reaches into her apron pocket and pulls out something you've never seen. A tiny locket. It's old, maybe older than her. The kind of thing passed down from someone with a name you've only heard in fragments. She opens it. Inside, 2 tiny photos. One of her as a child, the other, a girl you don't recognize. "That's my sister," she says softly. "She didn't make it past 12. You sit in silence. Not shocked, just reverent. "She loved marbles," Grandma says, almost laughing. "Could beat me blindfolded." You reach into your pocket and pull out lava, the orange marble. You roll it across your palm, then hand it to her. For her, you say. She takes it, nods, tucks it inside the locket like it always belonged there. We still wonder if the ones we lose ever really leave. Maybe they just become part of the people we keep. The wind picks up. The chimes tinkle gently, finally catching their breath after a long day of stillness. She says, "I've got something else for you." You brace. She disappears into the house and returns with a box the size of a shoebox, wrapped in tissue paper and twine. "Don't open it here," she says. You nod. Tuck it under your arm. She looks at you, then really looks, like she's measuring every part of you. Not to judge, but to remember, to memorize. Then she says the thing. The thing you always knew was coming. "You'll be leaving tomorrow, huh?" You nod. She doesn't flinch, just rocks. Rocking is her language, her coping, her power. "I'll pack you some pie." You smile. "I figured." You sit there longer, maybe hours. The night stretches around you, not in silence, but in understanding. The swing creaks, the stars blink, and something inside you, some peace that's always been a little unsettled, clicks gently into place. You walk back into the house one last time before bed. Everything looks the same. The cookie jar still grins. The drawer still hides its mysteries. The quilt on the bed is turned down, and the bear you thought you lost is resting on the pillow, arms open like he's waited for this moment his whole life. You change into the sleep shirt she laid out for you. It's too big. Smells like fabric softener and the passage of time. You crawl under the covers and pull the quilt to your chin. She knocks once, gently, peeks in, says nothing, just smiles. She flips the light switch, leaves the door cracked, and for one last time, you close your eyes in the safest place on earth. You think, this house is made of forgiveness and flour. And also, she'll be in every quiet kitchen I ever walk into. And maybe I'll keep a junk drawer too. You drift. Back to the porch. Back to the swing. Back to the slingshot and the salt shakers. Back to the moment she let you lick the spoon very time. You let sleep carry you. Wrapped in memory, stitched with pie crust edges and warm butter afternoons. And just before it all fades to dream, you hear her voice. "Love you, sugar, always did.